Hey, welcome back everyone. I hope you're all having an amazing Tuesday. It is now April 5th of 2022, and we're only getting closer to Star Wars Celebration, which by the way is going to be by far the best celebration under Disney's wing, without a doubt, because of all of the new Star Wars projects that they currently have in the pipeline that will be announced this year and also next year at next year's celebration. That's also going to be a very big deal. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now here we are, it is the very beginning of April. We're getting very close to a lot of other Star Wars projects coming out. We have The Mandalorian Season 3 that is now in post-production, and it's getting closer to its completion for a release of holiday season. We have a lot of things happening with Star Wars Andor, which by the way is slated for a August of 2022 release this year, of course. That's a big deal as well. We have a lot of things happening with Disney and Lucasfilm when it comes to all of these new Star Wars projects that are going to really kind of shed more light on many of the core characters. Now, with that being said, what's even all the more intriguing has everything to do with exactly what's happening with John, George, and Dave. Now, essentially what they are trying to do is that they are combining both Legends and the Disney canon into one in order to really create this great balance for all types of Star Wars fans. It doesn't matter if you're a hardcore fan, a casual fan, or a new fan. They really want to make sure that they can make everybody happy at the same exact time, and really, at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. So with that being said, however, what's even all the more intriguing has everything to do with Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy and exactly what she recently had to say about her thoughts on the Star Wars fandom and of course the sequel trilogy movies and her overall outlook on Star Wars as we speak. So, given that Disney and Lucasfilm are currently beginning to work on new Star Wars shows that have yet to be announced that will be revealed at Celebration this year, creators John and Dave Filoni are currently creating new Star Wars projects that will take Star Wars in a brand new direction. However, it's described that in a recent interview with Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy, she recently apologized for her treatment of the sequel trilogy. Kathleen Kennedy went on to state, "What I have noticed with the Star Wars fans is that they are so very passionate, and sometimes it's easy for us creators to get that confused, of course, with being overly demanding and aggressive. I personally want to tell those who have supported this brand for the past 40 plus years that I do apologize for the misunderstanding of how fans feel about our brand that we are trying to bring on to a different path. It's my job to make sure that we can respect the characters that we are creating and that were created by George and all those stories that we created some time ago. I want to also say that I am sorry for what we did over at Lucasfilm and those over at Disney playing things extra safe with the sequel trilogy films. It was never our intention to upset the fandom so much." Now, let me just stop right here for 1 second. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this obviously seems like a fake apology to me. She's apologized before in the past and completely flipped everything some months later. You can see that Kathleen Kennedy is really trying to save her image desperately here. You can tell that Kathleen Kennedy is trying to kind of give herself a one-up when it comes to the Acolyte TV show. That's all sitting ready to debut in 2023, which by the way, we'll get to that in just a second. It is moving forward. The thing about Kathleen Kennedy here is that she has apologized over 5 times now when it came to her thoughts on the sequel trilogy, and then she just goes on to do very bad things with the Acolyte show. We'll get to that in just a second as well. And this is why I think that a lot of people don't really respect Kathleen Kennedy, because she comes off as a two-sided person, right? You don't really know exactly what her true intentions really are. Is she doing these bad things to Star Wars on purpose? Does she not know any better? Is she perhaps out of the loop of how fans think? Really a lot of fans are confused about how Kathleen Kennedy thinks. I'm led to believe at this point in time that it's all done on purpose, to tell you guys the truth. Now, moving on beyond all of this, she goes on to state that what we realized, we needed to focus on some of the legacy characters, and it's easy to realize now that we lacked that in the past 3 movies. What my goal right now is, for myself and other creators that I am working with, is to bring Star Wars onto a better path and to not make the same mistakes that we did with the sequel films. Even though I still stand by my view that we did our best on the sequels, there was absolutely a chance that we could have done so much better with those installments. Now, additionally, separate from what Kathleen Kennedy stated to fans, is that work is progressing with the Acolyte series, and that what Kathleen Kennedy is doing with the character Yoda completely contradicts her apology. Now, one major aspect of the Acolyte series is that Kathleen Kennedy will be devolving the character of Yoda in the new series by making him abandon the Jedi Order in the same way that Luke Skywalker did in The Last Jedi. Kennedy is making sure that Yoda gets the Luke Skywalker treatment from The Last Jedi, where Yoda is set to walk away from the Jedi Code and cutting himself off from the Force and running into hiding again in a different and more cowardly way. This is said to not be the same as when Yoda hides on Dagobah. This is an entirely new approach by Kathleen Kennedy to give Yoda the Luke treatment within the High Republic timeline. Now let me just pause right there for a second quick, because we already know that Yoda is going to be a big deal in the Acolyte TV series. It takes place at the tail end of the High Republic era, which means, of course, some of your favorite characters are going to be alive and well, such as Count Dooku as a prime example. The thing that I don't like about this is that she's obviously picking a lot of elements from The Last Jedi, and especially aspects of Luke, and applying it to Yoda in the High Republic timeline, and then she goes on to say that she apologizes for what she did with the sequel trilogy, that she apologizes for what she did with some of the characters in there and playing things safe, and then she goes on and goes ahead and does this stunt. I don't know about you guys, but obviously her apology is nothing more than just her trying to save her own image and attempt to essentially promote the Acolyte TV series and exactly what Leslie Headland is doing with that new Star Wars TV show. Now, I digress. Now, Kathleen Kennedy is said to also have plans to also reveal Yoda's true species name in the Acolyte series. That will be a handful, of course, of scenarios that will be done by Leslie Headland. Something that fans are a bit skeptical about, as they feel that this should be done by creators like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni for starters, regardless, of course, it's being poorly done. Now, the thing about that really keeps me on edge is that Kathleen Kennedy, given that she has full creative power over the Acolyte series, she is going to be the one to unveil Yoda's official species name and exactly where he comes from, what the species are like. That's a little worrisome. That is, of course, going to be done by Kathleen Kennedy. Something so large, something so historic that's going to be done in the Star Wars universe is going to be done by Kathleen Kennedy. And that, I think, is one thing to really be a little bit worried about. You know, whether or not she's going to completely taint the character of Yoda and his legacy, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, it's not looking good for the Acolyte TV show. I've said this time and time again. There's still a good chance that this show could very well run into further setbacks and eventually cancellation. I mean, look at what happened to Rangers of the New Republic. Something as simple as that could happen, where it just gets canceled flat out right and never to see the light of day. But anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon.